And I know, I'm telling you now, I know that this recipe is going to be controversial. Okay? First of all, a lot of people are going to be like immediately, the minute that I'm cooking some fried green tomatoes, they're going to be like, Let's see, how does she destroy this menu? How does she destroy this recipe? And y'all, I'm not saying that I'm not going to do that, but this is how I was taught, and it tastes really fucking good. So we're going to try it this way, and I'm going to try to teach you how to make it. So you will need you will need green tomatoes. These are straight out of some lady named Ruth's garden in Stanley County, but any kind of green tomatoes will work. And you want to cut them about a third of, I don't know, like an Oreo. You want to cut them about as thick as of course. Right. So yes, I know that this recipe is going to be considered very controversial because I'm not using some of the ingredients that some of y'all would use, and I'm using other ingredients that y'all would not use. But you know what? We have the right to be different. And I'll probably make my fried green tomatoes very differently than you, but this is the way that my mom taught me. It's the way that she was taught. And like I said before, I don't know who the fuck taught her, but it works, and it tastes really good, and it's the only way I've ever had them, so I'm gonna teach it to you. And yes, I know it's not traditional. I know how to make traditional fried green tomatoes. You get your tomatoes, you cut them up, you season the tomatoes. You get your flour, you season your flour. You get your milk, heavy cream, buttermilk, depending on your choices. Add some egg, season that. Then you get some cornmeal or some panko breading crumbs, depending on how, season that. That's not how we doing that. We're not doing that, okay? I know it's not how most people make it, but it's how I've always made it. So I'm gonna teach you how to make it. And you can judge me. I'm not mad at you if you're judging me, because looking at everybody else's recipes so far, and I looked at every single video on this app about fried green tomatoes, and they're all pretty much the same. Nobody uses cornbread muffin mix, so this is news to me. Apparently, this is just, y'all, I don't know. We're about to find out together. We're about to find out together, put it that way. You're going to season both the cornbread mix and the flour and the tomatoes. There will be plenty of seasoning. You don't have to worry about the seasoning. And I will be using adobo. I prefer the one without pepper, but they did not have that. So, you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. Adobo. A healthy amount of this sprinkled directly onto the tomatoes in lieu of plain salt and pepper. Salt-free vegetable seasoning. This will be in the flour and the cornbread mixing. It just adds a little extra dimension to it. And then our good old friends, yin and yang, bump a bump. And then at the end of it, when it's all done and cooked, oh, and some of my grandma's sage from 1984, I think. 1988. 1988. Can you see it? 1988. And I'll sprinkle pink Himalayan salt when I'm all done. I'm gonna let these bitches kind of marinate in that seasoning for a fucking hot ass minute. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to get yourself a big ass fucking bowl. And you want to slice up your tomatoes. Like I said, you want them to be about the size of an Oreo, about the thickness of, not a double stuffed Oreo, just a regular old Oreo. You don't want them too thick. If you get them too thick, then they cook too long and they burn. So you want to make sure you get the right kind of knife. You want a knife like this, not a knife like this. Although this is a good knife. This knife is from the 1930s. It's a good knife. I love this knife. I use it for everything. I will not be using it for this, however. This is the kind of knife you want. And you just want to slice them real slow. Oh, they're so nice. Yes, look at that juice. Ooh. Okay, and then you want to lay them in the bowl in like 5, season, 5, season, 5, season, so on and so on. Again, in lieu of plain old salt and pepper, I'm going to just use plain old adobo, and you want to sprinkle them liberally, okay? I think the trick to this is seasoning. You can't really do too much. You want to do that, cut another tomato, layer it, Same thing until they're all done. Oh, and here's how thick they are, just so you can see. And most people throw this part like away, but I'm not gonna throw this part away. I'm actually gonna save this part because I'm gonna give it to my dog or my cat. Because I have strange animals that actually really like fruits and vegetables. My cat goes crazy for fried okra. My dog goes insane. Oh my gosh, she loves raw cucumbers. It's the craziest thing, I swear to God. I don't understand why she likes veggies the way that she does, but she does like veggies. Ooh, this girl's a little thick. That's all right. That's all right. You ain't gotta be perfect to be in my squad. Okay, so then you wanna lay them in here just like this. Same little circle. And see, they're laying down on top of the seasoning that you just laid in there before. So then you just wanna, again, sprinkle very liberally with your salt and pepper or whatever you're using. Y'all, I mean, I know it's wrong with me, but I am just like, hey girl, hey, can I get your number? Because you is gorgeous. Look at this fucking tomato, how beautiful it is. Okay, so now I've cut it all up. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna layer it in a circle, just like I did before. And you see how it's kind of layering up on itself. This is just to evenly season everything. And then again, we're going to liberally, bitch, it's like $1.50, okay? You ain't gotta be stingy with the adobo, all right? Liberally sprinkle, all right? And then you know what else we're gonna do? We are gonna set it aside and not fucking touch it for at least 5 to 10 minutes and let those seasonings actually marinate in the tomatoes. Because tomatoes, if you get salt on tomatoes, they get all like juicy and they like release all their like tomatoiness. Give it a chance to do its thing. Let it shine. And while that is sitting, we're going to cut up our watermelon that I straight up rescued yesterday. And hope that it's not like, I mean, okay, just between you and me, we totally found this watermelon abandoned at the same house that we got pork chop at. It's like this abandoned fucking place in the middle of nowhere in Stanley County. I looked at it. I got pictures of Camo, you got me out here trying to get arrested. But I did, okay? I did. I went to the place and I was like, I know it's abandoned and it would be a cool place to explore. And all I found was like a caved-in roof and a scary motherfucking spider and this watermelon. And I was like, okay, you know what, universe? I will take them, angel gods. I will take your fucking watermelon. But then I was like, what if somebody's like genetically modified this watermelon and it has like a kilo of cocaine or something inside of it and that's why they left it there? Get your most loved frying pan. If I had a cast iron pan, I would fucking pull it out right now, but I don't. I do have a fairly well seasoned pan. So get your best seasoned pan out. Get you about 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. Put it in there when it's cold. Put it in the pan when it's cold. Let it come to room temp or come to the temperature. Don't wait till the pot gets hot and then throw it in there because that's fried splatters. Then get your all-purpose flour and then get your cornbread muffin mix and make this according to the directions on the container. Done. So you're gonna need 4 containers, okay? You're gonna need 1 for your for your flour. For your plain, this is actually from a cornmeal. So you're gonna need plain flour, that's step 1. Then your cornmeal mix in here. Then cornmeal flour. So you're gonna go plain flour, cornmeal mix, then put it back in flour. Then when they're done cooking, you wanna put them in a container with a paper top. So you're gonna need 4 containers total. So first thing is regular flour. You don't need a whole lot of it. This is just to like cover your tomatoes so that they don't, so they're not too wet. Because when you put them in the flour, if they're too wet, they'll psst. So you want to take a fork and get as many of these lumps. You want to get as many of these lumps out as you can. Because the last thing you really want is like a lumpy tomato that's like got clumps of unmixed flour. That's gross. I've had that before. It's no good. All right, so you want 1 thing of flour like this. Step 1. Step 2 is going to be the cornbread muffin mix. So then step 3 is going to be more flour. So the first thing you do is put it in the first flour, then the cornmeal mix, then the third flour, or the second flour, third mix, then in the oil. Not difficult.